Hello friends, it is given that write down the mathematical expression to describe the function whose graph is. So they have given a graph. Now I want to write down what is the equivalent mathematical expression for the given graph. Okay, first I want to observe the part of the graph. Say for example, now I am going to observe the graph between the limits 0 and 1. Right, so it is containing two stages. Now first stage is this part, second stage is this part, right? So this interval is divided by 2. So it means, so 0 to 1 by 2 is first part or first stage, 1 by 2 to 1 is the second stage. Now I am going to write down what is the mathematical expression or what is the mathematical function for this part of the graph. Similarly, I can think about what is the mathematical function between the limits 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. Similarly, 3 and 4, or you can write down what is the mathematical function for the interval 0 to minus 1. Okay, as I have mentioned, so the limit between 0 and 1, it is containing two stages. What is the function between 0 and 0.5? So before that, I can think what is the period. So period is 1 unit, namely 1, right? So then I can think about what is the function for this part. Is it clear? Or I can mark like this. What is the mathematical function for this part of the function? I can write down f of t is equal to 2t, right? Where t lies between 0 is less than or equal to t is strictly less than 0.5, or I can say that 1 by 2. So when we draw the graph of this function, I hope we can obtain a ramp like this, right? And as I mentioned, it is containing another part, namely what is the function for this part, right? What we have marked with a red color. So it can be written as 2 minus 2t between the limits 0.5 is less than or equal to t is strictly less than 1. So it means, suppose if I want to draw the complete graph between 0 and 1, then I have to write 2t where t lies between 0 and 0.5. If I write this part of the graph, 2 minus 2t, 0.5 is less than or equal to t is strictly less than 1. What is the period? Period is 1, right? So when we draw the graph of this function, I hope you will get this part of the graph between the limits 0 to 1. Okay, so now I can think about the graph between 1 and 2. Say for example, now I want to write what is the graph of the ramp. Is it clear? Right? So this can be written as, I will call it as, this is f1t. Now I will write second function f2t. Is it clear? Right? So first I want to write this part. It can be written as 2t minus 2. Right? So what is the limit? The limit is 1 is less than or equal to t is strictly less than 3 by 2. So I hope we'll get this part of the graph, right? And similarly, suppose if I want to write the function for 3 by 2 to 2, right? So what is the function? I hope you'll get, I have to write 4 minus 2t, right? So between the limits 3 by 2 is less than or equal to t is strictly less than 2. Again, what is the period? So period is 1 only, right? So it means when we draw the graph of this function, so we can obtain this part of the graph between the limits 1 to 2 with the period 1, right? And similarly, suppose if I want to write 2 to 5 by 2, what is the function for this, right? So you may call it as another function, say f3. f3 of t is equal to, right? So I hope you may get 2t minus 4. What is the limit? So 2 is less than or equal to t is strictly less than 5 by 2. I hope you'll get this graph, right? And similarly, suppose if I want to draw this part of the graph, so what is the function? 6 minus 2t, right? So limit is 5 by 2 is strictly less than t is strictly less than 3. When you draw the graph of f3, I hope you can obtain a graph between 2 to 3. I hope this will repeat for the next period. Is it clear? Right? So either this side or the same graph can move left hand side, negative side, right? So you can draw the same graph between 0, minus 1. Next, if you want to write minus 1 to minus 2 and so on. Friends, here you can observe one thing. Here I have written the graph of the function of this graph between the limits 0 to 1, and it is called as f1t. Similarly, f2t, and I have called third part is f3t. Is it clear? Instead of writing individual functions, so we can write down one general function for the entire graph, and it will move or it will shift horizontally, right, with the period 1. Is it clear? So you can take it as a homework. Thank you.